In this video, I'm gonna share how I got 15,000 referrals for all of my businesses absolutely for free. The process I'm about to go over with you has been used in door-to-door sales when I did that for 7 years, in B2C sales, digitally, through Instagram, through big business to business sales, through the consulting business I run right now, and it will work for you regardless of your industry, skill level, and it's really simple. It's just difficult for people to actually remember to do it and get out of their comfort zone to apply. I think the biggest misconception most people have leading them to below average number of referrals is they don't ask every time because they think the situation has to be perfect. I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no perfect situation. It will always be awkward until you do it every single time. And there's no way you're gonna be able to read someone to know if they're gonna give you a referral or not, especially when you're starting out doing this process. Let me give you an example. Most people don't ask for referrals when someone's not interested. You've gone through a sales presentation at the end, well, I don't think I'm gonna move forward, or they're shaky at best. You don't know that they're gonna move forward. Most people say, well, because they're not interested, they're not gonna refer me to anybody. That makes no sense. And that right there is incorrect. You should ask for referrals. Just did this last week with a prospect, which I have no idea if she's going to be working with us on our consulting business, but she gave us a referral, and that referral is already slated to sign up for a decent sized package. And it all came from just being positive and asking referrals every time, regardless of the situation. Number 2, using who do you know versus do you know language. When you ask, do you know, you're setting up a yes or no question for your referrals. If you've been in sales long enough, you know if you're asking a pretty yes or no question and you don't know the answer to it, it's a bad question. Good salespeople know the answer to questions they ask. If there's an opening for someone to say no prematurely, you'll probably lose the sale and you'll probably lose the referral. So it's the same concept here when you're asking for referrals. Instead of saying, do you know someone, which could be that yes or no, you say, who do you know that would appreciate hearing about what I'm doing? The reason who makes a difference is because the answer to who is a name or a person, not a yes or a no. If you start saying, who do you know, you'll get way more referrals that way because people won't say, no, I can't think of anybody. Number 3, use a story that relates to the person in front of you. If you're doing this correctly and you're meeting with someone who is a referral, and if they're not, that's fine too. Let's say they are a referral in this case, right? Share the story of how you met them. Hey, who do you know that would appreciate hearing about this? Everyone sends me to 4 or 5 friends. So when you ask, right, who do you know that would appreciate hearing about what I'm doing? Use the story of how you met the person in front of you. Actually, that's the way we met. This person referred me here, and then this person referred me here, and then this person referred me here, and that's actually how I met you. And smile and be excited, enthusiastic, and assumptive that they're gonna give you referrals to the next person as well. The story normalizes sharing referrals where some people feel like it could be awkward. When you have that story, everybody does it, and so they should share as well. All right, number 4, share evidence. So what does this mean? When you're asking for referrals, have the place where you keep all of your referrals, an Excel doc, written if you're really old school. I used to do that. I don't recommend it. I recommend doing it online. Show that to people as you're asking for referrals, and there'll be like 100 or 200 referrals, and they're gonna, again, be much more normalized to sharing referrals, and they're gonna see the person above them give a lot of referrals, creating expectation that they should give you a lot as well, because you're an awesome person and what you do is a great thing. Again, this is regardless of situation, and all of these steps, right, can be applied even if someone's not interested in what you're doing. And if you don't have anything like that, maybe you suck at Excel and you're like, man, I know paper's not the way to go. Just go to the link in the description, fill out the quick form so we can connect with you, and we'll email you a free template to take referrals with all the categories that I would recommend to make the referral approach really beneficial. Number 5, create expectations. So people often do what they think they're supposed to do. People like to fit in and make people happy. So when you say, who do you know that would appreciate hearing about what I do? And you insert this line right here. Everyone sends me to at least 5 friends. When you say at least, it's giving them a bare minimum that now they're shooting for 5, and it gives them the opportunity to go over 5, giving you more referrals, so your average could be around 5, okay? So if you set that expectation, you can start joking with them when they say an objection like, I can't think of anybody. Well, no worries, everybody gives me 5. Let me help you out with that because I know it just right off the top of your head. What most people do is grab their phone, or, you know, I've actually looked up some people that you know that I would love to meet. So that's called feeding for a referral there, or like coming prepared, right? Farming for it. So you can maximize this to help jog their memory, providing what we call memory joggers. And those memory joggers are things like your ideal client, industry, job type, and even printing out some connections from their LinkedIn or Facebook, so that way they can see human beings that might be good or that is your ideal fit. Because if they know somebody that would appreciate it, right, and they're shooting for 5 and you're sort of joking like, okay, we need like 3 more, I've got 2, then you'll just get way more referrals because it's much more fun and less awkward.
There's nothing more frustrating than having a really excited client send you to one of their friends, and then you call and you reach out and they never pick up the phone. No matter what, no matter how many times you reach out to them. Or even worse, you're paying for leads and advertisements. And whoosh, you see a brand new lead that comes in and you call with no answer. I mean, what a bummer. That money just went right down the drain. And the question is, why are they not answering you, and how can we get them to answer you? Well, it really comes down to this one reason. Before we jump into that one reason, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and click subscribe, help me grow this channel so we can inspire more business owners and leaders just like you to grow their business. Okay, thanks. And that reason is this: they don't recognize your number. Therefore, they think you're a telemarketer, meaning that they think you're just gonna try to sell them on the phone and treat them like every other telemarketer, like a number. Yikes, we want to avoid that, okay? So to solve this problem, all you have to do is show them that you are not a telemarketer. In fact, you are a really cool person that anyone would die to have a conversation with, like the Duke of Normandy or someone cool like that, or Ariana Grande. That's you right there. So you get the point. But Joe, how do I actually get someone to realize that I'm not a telemarketer when all I have is their phone number and their name? This is how you do it. Here's my 3 tips that have helped me to get my leads and referrals to pick up my phone calls. Now, a couple of these work better for referrals and a couple of these work better for leads. And I'll explain why when we go through each one. So the first one is going to be strictly for referrals. Okay, so referrals are the best leads that you can get. We all know this. You know this. If you get a referral, they're way more likely to buy. They're probably going to pick up the phone in general. But if we want them to pick up the phone faster, be warmer on the call, and be more excited to meet with us, you need to implement the referral 3-way text. So what this is whenever you're asking for your referral and you're with someone who's really excited to help you, you're going to ask them to do a quick introduction 3-way text. And the big key here is that they create the message on their phone, they add you, and they add the referral that they think would love chatting with you. You need to create a quick message that they can copy and paste that sells a little bit of your experience and gets them excited to be on the phone, that also kind of takes some pressure off, that it's nothing they have to do and it's worth just 5 minutes. With that referral introduction, that person's gonna have your phone number, they're gonna know your name, and they're gonna know that your friend likes you and trusts you enough to put you in a text group together, meaning they're gonna pick up your phone call and at least give you 5 minutes. So try the referral text. Okay, option number 2. Now you could use this for referrals, you can use this for leads in general. It's just really case by case in the strategy that you want to employ. If you're in insurance, I would absolutely recommend using this. So where this intro text came from was actually from when a plumber came to my house about a year ago to fix some pipes in my bathroom. And before they came, they sent a picture of the person coming and a whole intro of who they were and why they were doing what they were doing with the company and how much experience they had. And when they sent that, I was really excited to talk to that person. I knew how good they were. I knew that they were gonna take care of me. I knew that they cared about what they did, and I knew who was gonna come knock on my door, for example. And that made all the difference. And so you can actually do that with your leads as well. Again, people aren't picking up because they think you're a telemarketer. So how you do that is you send a professional picture of you, a little section about you, a link to your bio and videos so they can learn more about you themselves. And then when you actually call them, they're gonna be like, hey, oh, I'm the person that texted you. And they're gonna be like, oh, I looked at that text. And they're gonna know that you're not a telemarketer, okay? So that's strategy number 2. So strategy number 3 is what I call the social media strategy. So you can use this for referrals, you can use this for your cold leads. If you have enough information, it's gonna work better for referrals because referrals it'll work pretty much every single time because you know more about the referral, but it can work for cold leads as well. It just depends on the lead, and sometimes it may not work for those. So here's the strategy. Whenever you get a referral or you get a lead, you're gonna look up their name on Facebook or LinkedIn, and you're gonna try to find their profile. Once you find their profile, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna add them as a connection, or you're gonna add them as a friend. Why do you do this? Because when you add someone as a friend or connection, it's gonna pop up on their feed to accept or deny that invitation. So what that means, they're gonna see your name. If they do accept or they don't, it doesn't matter because they're gonna see that you have some mutual connections. Now, more often than not, if you see mutual connections, you're gonna accept that connection or that friend request, and then you might even check out their profile. So when they do all those things, they've seen your name, they see some of the mutual connections that you have, so they know that you're a legit person. And then when you call them and even send an intro text or something like that, even later, they're gonna recognize your name and be more intrigued and realize that you are a human being, because they've recognized your name before. So you can even message and comment on some of their posts to see that you pop up in their feed several times before you actually call them. That's how you warm up the lead. So at the end of the day, don't overcomplicate the problem. The problem is they don't know or trust you yet, and they think you're a telemarketer. So it's not about where the leads are coming from, the reason that they're not picking up. It's not the fact that the referrals are bad or bad people. It's that they just don't know you yet, and you need to help them understand that you treat people well and are trying to help, and you're easy to say no to and easy to get rid of. You know, if people know that you're pretty laid back, they'll talk to you. If they know you're going to treat them well, they'll talk to you. If they know that you're a real human being, they'll at least give you 5 minutes to have a conversation on the phone. Now, obviously, I know and you know, if you have a 5-minute conversation with someone, it can make a massive difference. So now you know how to get people to answer when you reach out, but maybe you just aren't great at asking for referrals in the first place, or maybe you feel really bad about asking referrals. If you're not getting at least 1 to 2 referrals every time you ask, your real issue isn't that you're asking at the wrong time, it's that you aren't building trust fast enough for your prospect or warm connection to want to help you and send you to their friends. It's all a trust thing, it's not a timing thing. There's no perfect magical time at the end of the sales talk, at the end of your conversation, once they've signed up. Like, you should be asking referrals once it feels comfortable. And that is a big deal. You shouldn't just wait until 3 weeks after you've worked with someone because it's enough time for them to have a great experience. It's like, no, if they've decided to work with you, if they're really cool, and even if they're not someone that you're gonna work with, you can still ask for referrals, and the key is trust. If you think about it on a business level, time is money, and the more time you have, the more that you can sell, the more people that you can help. So obviously it's not ideal to work with someone for weeks or even months without getting a referral. It starts to bottleneck you, and sooner or later you just run out of really warm leads or referral leads, making you panic and get frustrated and have to resort to cold calling. Which, again, I've got nothing against cold calling. Cold calling can be a really great thing, but compared to a referrals, it's not as much fun, to say the least. So I was selling books door to door by week 2 to 3 into a summer selling season where I'd started completely from scratch. I was so good at building trust in my presentations at the door when I was talking to a random person who hadn't heard about me yet or maybe saw me on Facebook. Because I was so good with the Facebook marketing, because I was so good at connecting names with other people I had met or other people that I had worked with or had bought for me, I was able to ask for referrals and build trust much faster, and I was able to receive referrals almost every time from almost anyone. I even remember asking for referrals at the door after meeting someone and knowing them for less than 2 minutes, and because I could connect with them, they were sending me to several friends that would be open to hearing about the educational resources I was selling. It's pretty wild, right? Like, how can you do that? And that's what I'm gonna teach you right now. Quick disclaimer before we run into exactly how to get referrals and build trust faster. I will say that your first few times of doing this, you're not gonna get the perfect response. You may not get referrals the exact first time, but over time with proper practice and online branding and getting organized with your past clients, you can build trust extremely quickly. And I really encourage you to try this because it's worked for me and it'll work for you too. So without further ado, here's my 3-step process on how to build trust faster so you can ask for referrals and receive them faster. Okay, so step 1 is you need to understand how to get deeper faster. And what I'm gonna teach you is a concept called the 5 levels of connection. Now, these levels of connection are designed to appeal to the psychology of how people build trust. We don't build trust just by saying random words or chit-chatting about the weather. It's all about getting deeper and talking more about our goals and commonalities between us. When we connect and find these commonalities, the result is that our guard actually comes down. And everyone knows this, it's in sales or runs a business, everyone has sales resistance. And so the goal is to be comfortable with people and help them realize that you're a good person and that you're not a slimy salesperson trying to take advantage of people, and that what you're selling, what you're doing, it's a noble thing. And if people can understand that and they know that you're trustworthy and not gonna take advantage of their friends, they'll give you referrals. If they don't understand it, then they're gonna struggle with wanting to give you referrals because they're not sure what's gonna happen if you called those friends. So let's run through each of these 5 levels of connection. Number one is this thing called location. So location is the idea that we connect based on locations that we've been, places we've grown up, places that we visited. For example, if you go to China and you're from Knoxville, which is where I'm from, and you love the University of Tennessee Volunteers, and just like me, you're a big football fan, and you were wearing a University of Tennessee Vol shirt and you were in China, and then you saw someone else with the same shirt, what would you talk to them about? You would talk to them about the University of Tennessee. You would go up and be like, wow, I'm a Vols fan, me too. That's amazing. What? I can't believe that you're here and we've both been there and we're both fans. And then you would just start this big long conversation about Tennessee and where you've been in Knoxville. And if you knew something about football, you would actually go straight into level 2. It's this thing called observation. So this random person that you just met that you know is from Tennessee is wearing a Volunteers hoodie, just like you, right? And you guys start talking about Hendon Hooker, and you start talking about, Joe Milton, and you start talking about all the different nuances of the Tennessee Volunteers football program in 2023 or whatever year it is, right? You're actually connecting on this level called observation, which is knowing deeper details about certain topics or communities. For example, football is like a community of fans. And so if you are a follower or fan of a certain team, you're gonna know more about that team than pretty much anyone else, and you're gonna be able to talk about that in depth. And when someone else who is a part of that fan group realizes that you know the same things, you guys connect on this level called observation. So when I was selling books, the way that we would connect on observation is by becoming local experts, right? So locally, we would live in the community, we would know a lot about the community, we would start to know the power names of people who are really popular in the community, who are really well known. When you have these certain names, you connect on those types of things. But also, we'd go even further and understand more about their situation in the schools, because when you're selling educational resources, the parents, all they care about is their kids' education, at least in what I was selling and talking about. So I would know every single teacher's name, I would know every grade level, how much homework they get, what kind of assignments they're getting, so that way I could connect with that family and talk about what's happening next year with a lot of different local names, so that way they would know that I'm an expert, and we would connect not only on location, but observation, because I would know about their school system, which would connect with exactly what they know about their school system. And the third most important level of connection to get to in order to ask for referrals is destination. So destination is exactly what it sounds. It's where we're going. It's essentially connecting on goals and mindset and what we're trying to accomplish with our lives. So for example, go back to college, go back to whatever job you're working at right now. There's certain cultures in different clubs, different universities. There's a culture in every single career path that you could have in every single company. You're probably at the company that you're at because they have a similar vision, goals, and values for life, the destination, where you're heading, and that's why you work there. And that's what we want to do with people before we ask for referrals, because if they know we have similar goals, desires, and values, they're going to recommend us to people who have the same goals, values, and direction in life, which is the exact ideal prospect that we want. And so the way we do that is we always need to share why we're doing what we're doing, and the goal of talking to people and why we care and how we want to help. And if we can explain that destination, then people get pretty excited about recommending the right people. And that's the key. So if you can connect on location, where we're from, some of those past experiences, if you can connect on observation, where we're connecting that we know about similar type topics or similar type things in the community, that's the idea. We're local, we're not some big corporate company who's just trying to get someone's information and then bother them, right? That's really important in the observation section. And then the destination is that we are here to help. We have the same goals, vision, and values, and that way they recommend the right people. And if we get to those three, you'll have trust, you'll get referrals. Just a little extra points here. Number 4 is this thing called perspiration. Perspiration just means that you've worked with someone for a long time or done things with people, have life experiences. It brings us closer. Last one, conversation, where we don't have to worry about facades. We're on a very deep trust level with people, and we don't have to act differently than just who we are authentically. So those are the 5 levels of connection. That's step 1, get to destination, and you will get referrals. All right, so step 2, show names and be a local. So just like I was talking about in observation, people want to know that you're legit and that it's really normal to refer people. And so I think this is really valuable when you're explaining what you're doing, when you're teaching people about how you're helping people, is to have these stories of names and these stories of past clients and kind of how you've reached out to them, because they're probably a referral too. And this will absolutely change the game when it comes to building trust. And unfortunately, I don't see this happen a lot at all, so I really encourage you to implement what I'm about to tell you. So what I used to do when I was going door to door, okay, a lot of people don't know this, but I had a 59% chance that people would let me in their house or give me 20 minutes. And so the reason they would let me do that is at the door, I would show a massive list of all my previous customers with an archived list of pictures of families who had previously bought from me, who had bought the educational resources I was selling. And I would show that to everyone I met based on location and the product line they bought. So if I was knocking on a door and they had a high school family and they're in this little town called Crum, for example, then I would show all my high school families and they would recognize several people. Now what this does is it shows that I'm a local. It shows that I connect on location, observation, and I can connect on destination in 30 seconds because we're talking about similar goals as what they might have. It's a massive deal. I would even go through some short stories of how I met each family, what they share, how they bought, why they bought, and I would share all those examples, and then I would share how I ended up at this person's house from who referred them, and it would just build all this trust. And even if they weren't interested, there was a point where I could just say, hey, well, who do you know that might appreciate hearing about this? Everyone's been sending me to 4 or 5 friends. That's actually how I ended up here, is your friend sent me here. So who do you know? And then they would give me referrals. And that's how you want to build trust, right? Because when you show names, it proves what you're saying. You're not just saying you know a bunch of these people, right? Because people trust only about 50% of what you say as the salesperson or the business owner, but they trust 75% of what their friends say and 100% of what they say. And if they see that you've had an amazing experience with all of their friends, working with them, many purchasing from you, then they will trust you because they can tell that you treat people really well. Because why would they think any different if all of their friends really enjoy spending time with you? So you'll have proof that you are a good person and doing a great job right in front of them. Solves most of your problems. All right, step 3, be assumptive. So the biggest struggle most business owners, salespeople, realtors have is they don't feel like they're supposed to be there asking for referrals. You might have felt like this before. Like maybe you're bothering people when you're asking for new referrals or you're looking for clients. And this is all nonsense. It's totally in your head. And here's why: service. So I want you to ask yourself this question. In your years of working, do you have a few stories that you could share about people who've had an incredible, life-changing experience working with you? Okay, get those people in your mind, right? Could you say that you helped them reach their goals in life or in whatever you helped them do? If the answer is yes, then who wouldn't want to help their friends reach those similar goals? And that's that destination part that we were just talking about, right? You should feel obligated to go help more people just like you helped those past people. Therefore, you're just asking to connect with the people who have similar goals. It's not a weird thing. You're not asking for money. You're not saying they need to sign up. You're saying, hey, like, who do you know, based on these other stories of people who I've worked with, who have really helped have a big change in their life, who do you know that have similar goals? Don't overthink it. Stop trying to sell everybody. Just look for the right referrals to talk to that you can actually help reach their goals. You're not asking for everybody, you're just asking for the right people. So just be assumptive, just go ask. Again, you're just trying to help people. So you're supposed to be there. Okay, so quick recap, ask for referrals after you've built trust. It's really that simple. The key is how can you build trust faster? So I really encourage you to develop a strategy in your sales presentation to connect on the 5 levels of connection, at least those first 3 to destination in your conversations. Even if it's a 30-second conversation on the phone, just connecting on your goals and past names and past clients and stories. Why it's really normal for people to give you referrals, because that's how you connect. If you bring in those stories and you're really assumptive about how you ask, okay, and you're connecting on those levels and you have a servant-minded heart, people will give you referrals, okay? And that's your goal, build trust faster. If you build trust faster, everything else will work out. Okay, so now building trust and getting 1 or 2 referrals per ask is one thing, but if you can double the amount of referrals you get each time you ask, now that will overhaul your business. So get ready for the next video where I teach you how to help people remember who they should refer to you. There's one incredibly simple word change you can make in conversations that will help you get way more referrals in less time. And it's gonna save you the frustration of always having to cold call and generate leads on your own. That's exactly what we're covering in today's video. How do some people have unlimited referrals while others seem to get stuck? It seems that every client I work with is on the hunt to generate more leads, and understandably so, but they almost always seem to be plateauing on getting more referrals. Whether they're a new business or they've been in the game over 20, 30 years, they always seem to get stuck at this place. And I've looked at the referral script, I've looked how they've been asking, and there's a simple phrase change that I've implemented to a lot of my clients that's made a massive impact. Because I kid you not, I literally have over 100 warm leads that I don't even have time to call because of how I ask for referrals. I learned this from selling books door to door, and this process has helped me knock on doors knowing no one to becoming a local educational superhero within 11 or 12 weeks. I've gotten 1,000 referrals from this process. I'm super excited to show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so sales is a transference of feeling, and certain words and phrases make all the difference when you're working with people. Now, in this scenario, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that you already have trust with your client when you're asking referrals, but obviously if they don't trust you, they're not gonna give you referrals. So we're in this scenario that we're teaching on exactly the phraseology to change. I'm assuming that they like you, they trust you, and they've been someone who've worked with you, or at least somebody who likes you enough and knows that you do a good job in your business. And when it comes to referrals, the only reason people wouldn't give you referrals right now is because they don't feel like it right now. And the question is, why don't they feel like it right now? And this is what we're gonna solve. People don't feel like giving you referrals because it's difficult to remember who they should refer. They wanna give you a good referral, so they don't wanna give you just any old person and then waste your time because they're gonna feel bad about that. So they overthink it, and then they resort to the common objections that I'm sure you've heard hundreds and hundreds of times. And maybe these objections have even convinced you that asking for referrals doesn't work. Objections like, let me get back to you, I'll email you a list. That's probably the most frustrating one. I don't want to send you someone who I don't know is interested. And the absolute worst response you ever get, I need to ask them for their permission first in order to give them the phone number. That is a smack in the face right there. I hate that one. It usually means they don't trust you. And if you get that one, there's not much you can do about it. But if you ask in a different way, you can avoid these objections, because once you get the objections, it's kind of difficult to move through them without coming off a little bit aggressive. And that's the last thing that you want to do. It's phrased in a question that you can answer with yes or no, meaning that they could just say, no, I can't think of anyone, to be honest. Do you know anyone? No, I don't know anyone. So great salespeople never ask questions they don't know the answer to. You don't want to ask questions where people can just say no, and then, well, they say no, and if you try to ask any other way for referrals, guess what? You kind of come off like a jerk now. So we don't want yes or no questions. We want to avoid these things. This is why you're struggling with referrals, so please stop doing this. Instead, ask like this. And this is exactly what I say. I'm just going to use a random name here. So if your name is Jeremy, I absolutely love working with amazing people just like you. In fact, everyone I've been talking to has been sending me to at least 4 or 5 of their friends. That's actually how I met you. And at this point, you would insert the story of how you met them. Actually, your friend Barbara sent me over to here, which sent me over to here, okay? And we're not gonna go into all of the nuances of being assumptive and selling through stories like we just talked about right here. That's gonna be another video that we're gonna create, which you can watch later. But the idea is that everyone else is doing it, and it's really normal to give referrals. If it doesn't feel normal, they won't do it because they feel weird about giving referrals. But if they know everyone before them gave referrals to where you all met, and then they got help from you meeting them, giving a referral is really easy because they want other people to be helped just like you helped them. Key number 2 is the one word that you're gonna switch. Instead of asking, do you know anyone, you're gonna ask, who do you know that would appreciate hearing about what I do? And the reason this is better is because who makes you think of people. When you say something like, do you know anyone? It's a yes or no question. So who makes you think of people? Do you know anyone makes you think of a yes or no answer. Okay, so we want them to be thinking of people, not thinking yes or no transaction, okay? So you can't answer no. The only credible objection is, I can't think of anyone, meaning you can help them think of other people. Now, how to help them think of other people is through this process called memory joggers, which we don't have time to go through today. But if you want to learn how to ask people and remind people of referrals that they're struggling to think of, then comment below memory joggers and I'll make a video on how I do that to where I can get multiple referrals, and on average 5 or 6 referrals from every single person that I talk to, that I sell to, whether they buy or not. It's something that is actually pretty simple. We just don't know how to do it yet, hence the knowledge gap. The second reason why asking this way is so amazing is the fact that you're using the word appreciation. So who doesn't appreciate getting their problem solved for them? Appreciating something a friend is doing to help you is always good, where if they don't know if the other person is interested, they stall. So appreciation versus interest, right? Oh, hey, who would appreciate at least a phone call? That's much easier to say, you know what? This person would totally appreciate a phone call because they've been struggling with this. But if it's like, are they interested? It's more of like, hey, do you want to marry me at the bar type question. It's like you're jumping to the sale when you just need to get your foot in the door and have a meeting with people, because that's where the magic actually happens, okay? So keep it simple for people, because would they appreciate it is a much simpler ask than would they be interested. And that, my friends, is exactly how you do it. Stop asking if people are interested and if they know anyone for a yes or no answer, and start asking, who do you know that will appreciate your call? You'll get way more referrals this way, and better ones at that. It's about how you set it up and the fact that everyone else is doing it.
If you like this video, please go ahead and like so we can shoot this out to more people and help more business owners just like you. Subscribe if you want to see weekly content just like this. And if you want to talk about growing your business, go to knowledgegapconsulting.com in the description, and just go to contact us and let us know what you're struggling with and where you want to go.